only slightly defeats the purpose of foaming the milk. Hello there, my name's Mackenzie, welcome back to my channel. I have an iced coffee. Why don't you go get yourself one? We're gonna have a little wrap-up video today, wrapping up all the books that I read in November, so let's get going. Cheers, everyone. You guys, I think this is the first wrap-up where I'm actually doing it properly with like numbers and data and everything. Woot, amazing, she's a proper YouTuber. Okay, let's go. So this month I only read 5 books, but page-wise I read 2,551 pages. So as opposed to last month where I read 11 books and 2,606 pages. So that averages out this month to be 85 pages a day, and last month 84 pages a day. So I've pretty much stayed on track, even though I've taken more days off in November than I did in October. So we're going to go through the books that I read in chronological order, and I'll let you know the star ratings as we go along. The first book that I finished in November is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I love this book, I love this book, I love this book. I love Erin Morgenstern as an author. She's a very kind of different author, and I've seen a lot of people don't like her and her kind of style, and I can understand that. I'm not going to fault you for that. I completely can see why you wouldn't like her style. It's very much like, I mean, just her prose is different. It is for sure. It's that kind of like old worldy kind of prose where like that old English were classics and they may almost put you to sleep, but like the story is too intriguing. She's an amazing author. She also wrote The Night Circus, which I loved, and I love this one. Okay, let's talk about this book, okay? So this book is about Zachary, and he finds a book, and it's kind of a weird book, and it has a bunch of short stories, and one of the short stories is about him, and it's about him when he was little, and he found a door done up in chalk, and he almost went through the door, but he didn't. And the book tells him that he didn't get to the Starless Sea yet. So then he's like, whoa, I'm supposed to go to the Starless Sea. And then he meets this other guy, his name is Dorian, and then he meets this girl named Max, and they kind of go on this like weird adventure to gather up some of these stories that are in our world, like the one that Zachary found, that shouldn't be there. So they're finding all of these books, they're trying to get to the Starless Sea. It's a whole mission. It's absolutely amazing and beautiful and gorgeous, and interwoven are these stories that Zachary finds. So it's the short stories from his book that he finds, and then some from the other books that are out there as well. It's so beautiful, so gorgeous, comforting. It is a story for people who love stories, and like that's kind of it. Like if you're a story kind of person, here's your book. There it is. And you know, I love it so much. I'm going to spend all of my next paycheck getting a variety of different covers, and for this one and for Night Circus. And in case you weren't aware, this was a 5-star read, also a favorite. It's also gonna go up on a favorite shelf right there. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful! Did I say it enough? It's beautiful. Makes my heart ache. You know, I'm not even gonna lie, it's one of those books where I can't listen to people. I don't think I can listen to someone not like this. Very good. Okay, the next book that I picked up in November was A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This is my first Sarah J. Maas book ever. Okay, let me tell you the story. So these covers came out in paperback. I love these covers. I love the paperback, especially when it's going to be a big old series. Unless I'm going to get it in a special edition hardcover, or if I'm buying them hardcover already in the beginning, I will typically always go for a paperback. So since this series is pretty much finished and over, I wanted to get them all in the paperback series. I picked up just the first one because I really wasn't sure if I was gonna like it. You guys, I really didn't think I was going to. I found out before I started reading it, somewhat of a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I thought that she wrote this book when she was 16. It's actually the other one, Throne of Glass, something like that. It's the other series that she wrote when she was 16, and then this one kind of comes, I think, after or in the middle. Anyway, let me tell you something, okay? This book did get a 3-star, but I didn't not love it. Can I explain? Okay. So, this book got a 3-star because as a beginning, it was relatively weak, okay? Our main Feyre's her name. Our main character, Feyre, not She-Ra, Feyre and the Princesses of Power. It's her name is Feyre. It's not my fault. Our main character, Feyre. I keep thinking of She-Ra. I keep thinking of Feyre done up in like the She-Ra stuff. Like, you guys know. Okay, do I have to summarize this book? I will. Okay, so Feyre kills a wolf. He turns out to be a fairy. So the High Lord from Spring Court comes to collect his pound of flesh, but instead of killing Feyre, he's like, hey, you could come live at my castle and that'll be your debt. You just have to live there forever. And she's like, okay, I guess I'll do that instead of die. And she does, and it's the typical Beauty and the Beast story where Tamlin is like, your hair is clean, and she's like, oh my god, I think I love you now. And I mean, but can you blame her? Here's my thing about their relationship and why I don't hate it is because Feyre's typically like going to live with Tamlin gives her more freedom than she's ever had before. She doesn't have to worry about feeding other people or having responsibility or not being able to do things she likes to do. Feyre is a painter instead of Belle the reader. So, I mean, I can understand going, having to struggle to survive your whole life and then someone saying like, hey, come live with me, and then all I had to do is read all day. I would probably love that person too. It's an easy kind of love story, an early stage love story, an immature love for sure. And that definitely played a role into the rating. However, I can't fault the book because I know where it's going, So I can't fault it for this one romance in this one book. What I really want to know is the rest. And that's why I really do love this book, is because while it wasn't a strong beginning, Feyre doesn't know a lot about the fairies. She doesn't know a lot about the fairy government or the land or anything that's going on because there's a curse that she can't know about, that the fairies can't tell her about, and so she doesn't know. And so there's a lot of not knowing, and I really am not a fan of main female characters not knowing for the sake of plot. Like, that's not a thing for me. I don't like it. It's not fun. They're just like, everyone else knows but the main female character, and the whole plot is main female character has to figure out what everybody else already knows. It's not my cup of tea. So, but honestly, I want to reread it. 3-star book, and I want to reread this one the most, mainly because I'm looking for someone. I think you know who I'm looking for. But I am looking for him. And I don't know exactly where he is in here, so I'll just have to reread and, find his parts. And I think that just would be okay. And also, I asked for the rest of them for Christmas, so I really hope I get them because I need them. So, 3-star read, but really enticing. It was like having an appetizer that wasn't the best, but you know that the main course is going to be really good, so you're like, it was okay. Like, just keep it coming. Like, That's such a weird way to describe a book, but I'm gonna stick to it because that's exactly how it feels. It wasn't the best appetizer, but it was good enough to make me hungrier, and I'm ready for the main course. The third book that I read in November was A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. So this was the last 5-star read in November that I had, and really, truly, even after reading the rest of this series, I still believe that this was a 5-star book. The beginning was solid, the beginning and development of the characters was solid, oh my gosh, the intrigue was great, the setting was amazing, it was my first dark academia book, it was really, really good, and I really enjoyed it. And the love story I was falling into, and I was falling in love with these characters, and their love, and the relationships that they had. It was good. I really enjoyed it. So, Diana is a scholar at Oxford? No, she's a scholar at Yale, but she's at Oxford right now looking at manuscripts, and she calls forth a manuscript that happens to be enchanted. Well, Diana just happens to be a witch, but she's not really in tune with her witchy side, so she just kind of puts it back, but then all kind of creatures come and want the manuscript, and one of those creatures happens to be the vampire Matthew. And at first he does just want the manuscript, but it turns into something deeper as he realizes that Diana is beautiful and intriguing and interesting and smart, and Matthew is also beautiful and intriguing and interesting and smart, and they kind of just really hit it off, and it really feels like a mature relationship where they discuss the meaning of life and the origin of species and what it means to be yourself and all of that kind of stuff. It was really good. It also comes with forbidden romance because Matthew and Diana are a witch and a vampire, and due to some congregation's covenant, they aren't allowed to be together. So that kind of sparks the whole two overarching conflicts in the trilogy. The fact that they need that manuscript, which is enchanted, which they happen to believe is the Book of Life, which holds the meaning of life, and the meaning of the creatures and how they came to be and their origin and all of that. And also that the congregation doesn't want Matthew and Diana to be together. So it sets it all up beautifully, and it really does a great job of creating danger, but not fake danger. It wasn't like Matthew and Diana were being stupid. It was people were really after them, and it was scary, and they did a great job. I really loved this one. I really loved the first book. So it's sad to say that it doesn't get any better from there, and it doesn't continue with the greatness. It just stark decline after that. So the next 2 books are going to be the rest of the trilogy. So Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness, the second in the trilogy. This book got a technical 4 stars because Goodreads does not do half point stars. This is a 3.5 star for me. This was the beginning of the end. This is beginning of the downfall. I mean, the downfall has to start somewhere. Why not be at what is supposed to be the strongest book in a series, especially if it's a trilogy. Trilogies are supposed to be, the second is supposed to be the best, most favored, because it gets to lean on all of the already created characters that you know and love, but also kind of explore, and you get to leave off on a cliffhanger, so it really incites a lot of emotion. And this book leaned into none of those. Because in this book, Matthew and Diana run away from the congregation to 1590. So that means that all the characters that we know and love are not in this. So it's just Matthew and Diana. And that really puts a spotlight on how awful their relationship is. About how Matthew is so weak in character that the people he's around is going to change how he acts to his wife. And how Diana is so weak and willing to go along with damn near anything. It doesn't matter how in danger she is. These people have no form of self-preservation at all. They really, truly, in this book, favor other people's relationships over their own safety. And that, my dear, makes no damn sense. None at all. And so It sucked too, because there was a lot in this book that I did actually kind of enjoy. I did enjoy the time travel aspect. I enjoyed the way it was explained into the stories. I liked the way that the past and the way that they changed it actually worked for them, and it actually helped to make the future what it is today. It was really, really, it sucked because everything around the plot and the characters were great, but the plot and the characters fell off. And it was at this point, in fact, that Matthew and Diana created their own issues. There would, in fact, be no plot or no danger or conflict in this book if it wasn't for Matthew and Diana keeping people who were dangerous to them close to them. People who were supposed to be friends of Matthew and Diana, they kept them close even after realizing that those friends no longer had their best interest at heart. And so, do I really care that Matthew and Diana are in danger if they are the ones who created that danger? Not really. 3.5 stars for that one. And the last book of November, the Book of Life, got a very, very solid 3 stars. And it's lucky that it got that, frankly, because I don't feel like this was a good ending at all. I don't feel like it had the weight or the gravitas or like anything to be a finale. It was so meek. It was so boring. I felt like there was more danger in book 1 than there was in this one. And the main villain of the whole everything was introduced in this book. And this book introduced a love triangle that was never developed. It discussed how Matthew and Diana's relationship is still full of lies and how that's really not going to change, and how Matthew and Diana haven't really discussed the fact that he is immortal and she is not. And then also the fact that the 2 main plot points, the fact that the congregation doesn't want them to be together, and the magical manuscript, the Book of Life, those are solved in like 2 or 3 pages. So, it's hard to care about the 2 overarching conflicts when it seems as if the author didn't care about them, because the author only dedicated like 2 or 3 pages to those things. And that's sad. And that is what has put me in a book hangover, and I haven't been able to read. I haven't read for the last 4 days because of that terrible ending to a trilogy. And it really just made me think more about like the other books that I read this month, Starless Sea and A Court of Thorns and Roses, especially A Court of Thorns and Roses, because I had the distinct opportunity to get the rest of this series instead of getting this series. But I decided, hey, let's get this one. I think that this is going to be the more mature relationship, the one that I root for more, the one that I love the most. And I regret that decision so heavily, I regret that decision. And, you know, there's nothing I can do at this point except let you know that while the beginning of the All Souls trilogy is great, unless you're into this specific kind of romance where we lie and our characters are weak, then it's really probably not your cup of tea either. Oh, okay. 5 books, 255 pages, 85 pages a day. That was November, folks. How do we do? How do we do? Do you like how none of these books were on my TBR? I bet if we go to my YouTube video right now of my November TBR, none of these books are on that list. If you haven't watched my November TBR and you want to laugh at what happened here this month, go up to the cards and go check that out, and we can all laugh together at how Mackenzie cannot seem to stick to her TBR. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys!